Okay, so in the final match today in the Rugby League World Cup, Samoa are playing France. The winner will go through, obviously, to play Tonga in the quarter-final. Samoa have blown the French off the field. It's finished 62 points to 4. It was 28-0 at half-time. The French right edge defence could not deal with Tylan May. He scored 4 tries. Tim Laffey scored 2 tries. They ripped them to pieces down their side of the field. Brian Totto's got a couple of tries as well. Anthony Milford's even got a couple of tries, and Chanel Harris-Tavita. So basically, the outside backs have had fun, and the French just could not cope. But it was 16-0 midway through the first half, and then that kick goes dead. And I will explain that in a minute. Tony Gigot is a frustrating player to watch. He can be brilliant, and he can be awful in the same game, let alone 5 minutes apart, because France had their opportunities with some repeat sets, and then that kick goes dead. It's a 7-tackle set, and well, the rest is history. Anyway, Tim Laffey starts the scoring after just 4 minutes of play. They've won the battle on their left-hand side versus the French right-hand side. I don't. It's a difficult one, but they looked very disjointed on the French right side defence, very, very disjointed, and the Samoans looked more in tune with each other. Now, this is a massive turnaround in the last 2 weeks, because obviously they were battered by England in the opening match of the tournament, to a lot of people's surprise. They've really turned it around. I think the Greece games gave them a bit of confidence, but this French side were struggling very early on. Brian Totto gets his first try on 17 minutes, and then Tylan May scores his try on 21 minutes. Now, Crichton's converted 2 out of the 3. It is at this point that the French get a bit of possession, and there's a gap between Tylan May's first and second tries of 13 minutes. It's at this point the French have got their arm in the arm wrestle. They're finding their feet in the game. They've calmed down. The scoring is slowed. No tries are being conceded. They've worked their way back into the game. They get some repeat sets, and then Tony Gigot kicks the ball dead. Samoa get a 7-tackle set, and Tylan May scores at the end of it after 34 minutes. Crichton converts, and then he gets his hat-trick on half-time. And it's 28-0. The game is slipping away from France at this point. And it's much the same after half-time. Tylan May scores his 4th try on the night after 44 minutes. And then he's taken off. Now, whether he's got a slight niggle or they're trying to protect him for future games, because this is his first match of the tournament. And Samoa have had a lot of injuries. And Tim Laffey, for example, has been a call-up into the team because of injuries. He wasn't there in the first game, where England smashed them off the field. Brian Totto scores the next try in 46 minutes. And then the scoring slows again. The French stay in the arm wrestle. The game is gone at this point. Faoud Yaha gets his try in 53 minutes. He's a brilliant try scorer in the Super League. That was his first ever try for France. It was a long time coming. Now, Anthony Milford's first try, on 62 minutes, is a head clash with Laguerre. Laguerre's had a nightmare at right centre for France, but I have seen them given as high shots when the onus is on the tackling player to make sure that the tackled player is taken to ground safely. There is a clash of heads. You could argue that Milford's gone in with a lack of control on the kick ahead. He's clearly not going to get to the ball first. And you could argue one of his arms is slightly not wrapping. It's given as a try because Laguerre drops the ball. He's knocked out, basically. That's why he drops the ball. And Anthony Milford touches the ball down. So that's a little bit of a controversial moment. Tim Laffey gets his second try in 66 minutes. The Chanel Harris-Tavita try, that's just an opportunist try. And Chanel Harris-Tavita, every game could be his last because he's announced he is taking a step away from the sport. I do like Chanel Harris-Tavita. He can play at fullback, he can play in the halves, he can play as a dummy half. He ended up playing in the centres when Laffey's pushed out to the wing. And then Anthony Milford caps off a fantastic match with his second try on 74 minutes. Where was this from, Samoa? against England. They were very, very fancied going into that game. Very strong squad. Where was this performance 2 weeks ago? Um, they put in a performance tonight against a pretty solid French side. This French side, very early on in the game, were struggling. It was very, very obvious that they were second best. They had a lot of struggles on their right side defence, and the Samoans on their left-hand side with Tylan May and Tim Laffey were just ripping them to pieces. And Jerome Luai controlling the game. But where was this performance from Samoa in week one? France, look, they're hosting the World Cup in 3 years' time. Gigot is a frustrating player, but Artemorg and Rouge, the two young halves who are in the side tonight, more Artemorg was playing fullback, are very, very talented. There is no doubt on that. Tony Gigot had flashes of brilliance in this game and flashes of insanity in this game. He is a very frustrating player to watch. There is no doubt on his talent. He's very off the cuff, which is how the French like to play sometimes. He's very unpredictable. But when they were 16-0 down and they were getting a couple of repeat sets and starting to ramp up the pressure, that kicking that ball dead, considering he's a Super League player and has played games at Warrington with those shorter in goals, that is a really poor kick. I would expect possibly an NRL player not to, have that knowledge of a Super League ground with a smaller in goals. But Tony Gigot, when he's off the boil, France are off the boil. When he's on his game, France are brilliant. And tonight he had some flashes of brilliance with a 40-20 in there and some good kicks that did cause problems for the back three of Suaalii, Toto and Tylan May, and even Laffey when he was moved on to the wing. And there was other moments he was kicking straight down Suaalii's throat or Brian Toto's throat or Tylan May's throat, and they are big ball carries. They make meters. They will break the game line. They will break tackles. And there's a reason why Toto and Tylan May have 6 tries between them. So I'm a bit disappointed with the French tonight. I'm glad that Yaha's got his try after many appearances for France, and he's an excellent try scorer in the Super League. But the French right side defence, I'm very surprised by how disjointed they were. There was no uniform press; they were going up in ones and twos rather than as a unit, and therefore it made it easier for Tylan May to pick his space, Luai to pick his passes, Laffey to make runs, the forwards, to keep the momentum going. And they got a lot of joy down there. They started to get joy down the left as well with Brian Toto and through the middle. The French, very second best. So Samoa have put down their message to the rest of the tournament. They've now woken up. Tonga have woken up. Both these sides, well, they've got through to the quarterfinals. Tonga have won every game in their group. But first 2 games were disappointing. Samoa, first game were dreadful. Suddenly, they both come to life at the end of the group stage, and they play a very tasty quarter-final next week. All that we have left now is PNG versus Wales, the last group game of the men's tournament before the women's tournament starts next week, and we're looking forward to that with great interest. I like to see PNG do very, very well. They are a big, powerful side. Wales have, for the home nations other than England, have played very, very well. They've really given it a go in every game. They have a tough challenge to try and upset PNG tomorrow night. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Samoa convincing winners 62 points to 4 over France, and let the quarterfinals begin. Thank you very much for watching. Please place your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will have some more content for you very, very soon.